The glass door of Vista Gallery slammed shut behind Anna Novak with such force that several patrons turned to stare. Standing on the cobblestone street of Prague's art district, she clutched her worn leather portfolio to her chest, feeling the sting of tears threatening at the corners of her eyes. 20 seconds earlier, she had been inside that pristine white space, her humble request to show her work met with dismissal that burned her cheeks with humiliation. "This is not some community center for hobbyists," the gallery director's words echoed in her mind. "Perhaps try the weekend market where tourists buy postcards and trinkets." Anna's trembling hand reached up to touch the single pearl pendant at her throat, her grandmother's, the only piece of jewelry she owned. At 42, her simple linen dress and practical shoes marked her as someone who cared little for appearances, a stark contrast to the curated elegance of those still browsing inside. What the gallery director couldn't see was the 15 years Anna had devoted to perfecting her technique while teaching art to children with disabilities during the day. A young man exited the gallery, nearly colliding with her. "I'm sorry," he said, his accent marking him as American. "Are you all right? That was quite a scene in there." "It's nothing," Anna replied, her Austrian accent softening her English. "Just a misunderstanding." "That was more than a misunderstanding. I'm Tom Wilson, by the way. I'm a curator from New York, just visiting." Before Anna could respond, her phone vibrated. A text from her husband. "Running late. Traffic terrible. Meeting went well. See you in an hour." "I should go," she said to Tom, offering a small smile. "Wait," he called as she turned away. "Let me see what they rejected." Anna hesitated, clutching her portfolio tighter. It contained not just her paintings, but her entire heart, vulnerable and exposed. "Why?" "Because sometimes the most important art comes from unexpected places." His eyes held sincere interest. As she slowly unzipped her portfolio, neither noticed the sleek black car passing by, nor the passenger inside watching their interaction with keen interest. The vehicle continued around the corner, disappearing into Prague's afternoon traffic, just as Anna revealed her first canvas. A haunting cityscape that captured Prague's ancient spires with a technique so innovative it seemed to pulse with its own heartbeat. Tom's expression transformed, his professional composure giving way to wonder. "These are extraordinary. May I?" he asked, reaching for the portfolio. Anna relinquished it just as her phone buzzed again. Another message from her husband. "The Ross Foundation is interested. Very interested. Everything's about a change, my love." Mark Novak prided himself on recognizing talent, a skill that had transformed him from a poor immigrant son into the founder of Europe's most successful tech venture capital firm. As his driver navigated Prague's narrow streets, he absently twisted his wedding band, a simple gold circle that matched Anna's, and remembered their agreement 15 years ago. She would support his dreams first, then he would support hers. Anna had kept her promise. Through failed startups, near bankruptcy, and 70-hour workweeks, she'd never complained about their modest apartment or her teaching job that paid their bills. Now, with his recent acquisition of Ross Digital pushing his net worth into billions, it was finally her turn. "Mr. Novak," his assistant's voice interrupted his thoughts. "Mr. Horak confirms the collection is ready for your inspection." "Thank you, Sarah." "And the other matter?" Mark asked, his mind still on Anna's text from earlier. She'd been rejected by Vista Gallery, again, despite her exceptional talent. "The research is complete. Vista Gallery is owned by Peter Reed. He's heavily leveraged and seeking investors. His client list is impressive, but he just rejected my wife without even properly viewing her work." Mark finished, his voice calm, but edged with steel. "Not the wisest business decision he'll make today." The car pulled up to Horak Fine Art, Prague's oldest gallery. Unlike Vista's modern minimalism, Horak embraced its historic architecture with warm lighting and dark wood paneling. The owner, Martin Horak, greeted Mark personally. "Mr. Novak, everything is prepared as you requested. The private viewing room is ready." They entered a room where 12 canvases stood displayed on easels, each illuminated by precisely positioned lighting. Mark moved slowly from piece to piece, studying each with critical eyes. These weren't mere paintings. They were Anna's soul rendered in oil and canvas. For 15 years, she'd risen at dawn to paint before teaching, pouring her passion into these works while supporting his ambitions. "They're magnificent," Martin said softly, When you told me about your wife's work, I was intrigued. Having seen them, I'm astounded. Mark's phone buzzed with an incoming call from Anna. He declined it, sending a quick text that he'd be delayed further. The deception pained him, but the surprise he'd planned required it. Everything proceeds as discussed, Mark told Martin. The exhibition opens in 3 days. Invitations to critics, collectors, and gallery owners across Europe are already sent, including Peter Reed. Martin asked with a raised eyebrow. Especially Peter Reed, Mark confirmed, a small smile playing at the corner of his mouth. He should witness firsthand what he so carelessly dismissed. As they stepped back into the main gallery, Mark's attention was caught by a young man entering. The same man he'd seen speaking with Anna outside Vista. The American curator was studying a large abstract with such intensity that he didn't notice them approach. "Mr. Wilson, isn't it?" Mark asked, startling the younger man. Tom turned, confusion crossing his face. "Yes, but I don't believe we've met." "We haven't." Mark extended his hand. "Mark Novak. I believe you met my wife earlier today, outside Vista Gallery." Recognition dawned on Tom's face, followed by excitement. "Your wife is Anna? The artist with a portfolio?" "The very same. Mr. Novak. Her work is extraordinary. I've never seen technique like hers, and I've viewed collections all over the world." Reed made a massive mistake today. Mark's phone buzzed again, another call from Anna. This time, the look on his face betrayed genuine concern. "Excuse me," he said, stepping away to answer. "Anna, what's wrong?" Her voice came through, shaking with emotion. "Mark, you need to come to Vista Gallery. Now." "What's happened?" "Just come," she said, and Mark could hear the gallery's distinctive ambient music in the background. "They're selling my paintings." "My paintings, Mark." 40 minutes earlier, Anna had been standing on the sidewalk with Tom Wilson, her portfolio open between them. His enthusiasm for her work had been a bomb after Reed's dismissal, but nothing prepared her for what he said next. "These aren't just good, Anna. These are revolutionary. The way you've layered light and shadow, it's like nothing I've seen before." He carefully examined each piece, his trained eye missing nothing. "This technique, it's entirely your own?" Anna nodded. "I developed it over years. Traditional methods couldn't capture what I wanted to express." "The art world needs to see these," Tom insisted. "Would you consider letting me make some calls? I have connections at several galleries in New York and—" "Thank you, but no," Anna interrupted gently. "I've had enough rejection for one day." Tom's expression grew serious. "Can I ask you something? Those signature marks in the corner, they're not just decorative, are they? They look familiar." Anna's heart quickened. Few people recognize the subtle pattern she incorporated into every painting, an abstract representation of her grandmother's village before war had destroyed it. "They're a memorial," she admitted, "for a place that no longer exists." Tom's eyes widened. "Wait here," he said suddenly, pulling out his phone and walking a few paces away. Anna watched as he spoke intensely, occasionally glancing back at her. When he returned, his expression was unreadable. "Anna, I think you should come with me. There's something at Vista you need to see." "I'm not going back there," she said firmly. "Trust me," Tom urged. "You'll want to witness this yourself." Against her better judgment, Anna followed him back to the gallery. Through the glass front, she could see Peter Reed engaged in animated conversation with a thin woman in expensive clothing. As they entered, Reed's eyes darted to them briefly before dismissing their presence. "As I was saying, Mrs. Davis," he continued smoothly, "these pieces represent an exciting new direction in contemporary Austrian art. The anonymous artist has developed a completely unique technique." Anna froze as her gaze moved past Reed to the wall behind him. 3 paintings hung there, her paintings, works she had completed years ago and submitted to a small competition in Vienna, never to see them again. She had assumed they were destroyed or lost. "These were discovered in a private collection," Reed was saying. "The artist is unknown, but the talent is undeniable. We've priced them conservatively at 45,000 euros each." "Ow!" Anna whispered to Tom. "How did he get my work?" "That's what I recognized," Tom replied quietly. "These surfaced at an auction in Berlin last month. They're being attributed to anonymous Austrian master. There's already a waiting list of collectors." Anna's shock gave way to anger. Moving past Tom, she approached Reed directly. "Those are my paintings," she said, her voice stronger than she expected. Reed turned, irritation flashing across his face as he recognized her. "Excuse me, Mrs. Davis. This woman is confused. Security will escort her out." "I'm not confused," Anna insisted, opening her portfolio to reveal works with the identical technique and signature markings. "I painted these years ago. They were stolen." Mrs. Davis looked between Anna's portfolio and the wall, her expression shifting from skepticism to concern. "Peter, is this true?" Reed's face hardened. "This is absurd. These works were authenticated by experts. This woman is clearly attempting some sort of scam." "The only scam," Anna said evenly, "is selling stolen artwork under false pretenses." The gallery had fallen silent, other patrons now watching the confrontation. Reed signaled to a security guard. "Remove her. Now." As the guard approached, Anna stood her ground. "Those paintings bear my signature mark. I can prove they're mine." "Out." Reed snapped, his composure cracking. "I will not have my gallery's reputation questioned by an amateur looking for attention." The guard took Anna's arm firmly. Other patrons watched, some uncomfortable, others merely curious. Tom attempted to intervene, but was blocked by a second security guard. As Anna was escorted toward the door, she turned to the assembled crowd. "Look closely at the lower right corner of each canvas. You'll find a small pattern, a village with 3 spires. It's my grandmother's home before the war. No forger would know to include that." Several patrons moved closer to the paintings, murmuring as they noticed the detail she described. "Enough," Reed shouted, his face now flushed with rage. "Get her out of here." Outside once more, Anna's hands trembled as she called Mark. When he didn't answer, she sent a text, then tried calling again. On a third attempt, he finally picked up. Inside the gallery, Tom Wilson was making his own call to the Austrian National Art Crimes Unit. The black SUV pulled up to Vista Gallery with silent precision. When the rear door opened, Mark Novak emerged with the contained energy of a thunderstorm before it breaks. His charcoal suit and burgundy tie presented a striking figure against the afternoon sun, but it was the intensity in his eyes that caused pedestrians to step aside. Behind him, 2 men exited the vehicle, one carrying a leather briefcase, the other scanning the surroundings with practiced efficiency. Mark spotted Anna immediately, standing with Tom Wilson and an older woman he didn't recognize. As he approached, Anna moved toward him, relief visible in her expression. "Mark," she said, her voice steadier than he expected, "they have my paintings. The ones that disappeared after the Vienna competition." Mark's jaw tightened as he took in the situation. "Are you certain?" "Without any doubt," she confirmed. 3 of them, being sold for 45,000 euros each under anonymous Austrian master. The older woman stepped forward, extending her hand. "Mr. Novak, I am Claire Davis from the Paris Museum's Acquisition Department. Your wife's work is exceptional. I was about to purchase one when she identified herself as the artist." Mark shook her hand briefly. "A pleasure, Mrs. Davis, though the circumstances are unfortunate." "Indeed," she agreed. "I've halted my purchase, pending verification, but the evidence seems quite compelling." The signature elements she described are present in all 3 works. Mark turned to the man with the briefcase. "John, prepare the documentation." Then to Anna, "Show me the paintings." As they moved toward the gallery entrance, Peter Reed emerged, his earlier composure replaced by barely contained anxiety. Behind him, several police officers in plain clothes were examining the disputed artworks. "Mr. Novak," Reed said, forcing a smile. "What an unexpected honor. I wasn't aware you collected art." "I don't," Mark replied coolly. "I collect justice for stolen property." Reed's smile faltered. "There seems to be a misunderstanding. These paintings were acquired through legitimate channels with proper documentation." "Documentation can be forged," Mark observed. "Unique artistic signatures cannot." The gallery had transformed into a scene of controlled chaos. The police investigators carefully removed each painting from the wall, photographing the contested signature marks. "Mr. Reed," one officer said, "we'll need to see all acquisition records for these pieces immediately." Reed's confident facade crumbled further. "Of course, they're in my office. If you'll excuse me." As he turned to leave, Mark spoke again. "Before you go, Mr. Reed, I believe you owe my wife an apology." "Your wife?" Reed's eyes darted between Mark and Anna, recognition and horror dawning simultaneously. Anna Novak, Mark confirmed. The artist whose work you dismissed this morning and whose stolen paintings you're now selling. The color drained from Reed's face. Everyone in Prague's business community knew Mark Novak, his wealth, his influence, and his reputation for remembering both kindnesses and slights. Mrs. Novak, Reed said, turning to Anna with a completely different demeanor than he'd shown earlier. I had no idea. Had I known who you were? That's precisely the problem, Anna interrupted. My work should be judged on its merit, not on who I'm married to. A police officer approached, holding up a tablet. Mr. Reed, can you explain why the provenance document for these paintings lists their origin as a private Bulgarian collection when they match photographs from the Vienna New Masters competition from 7 years ago? Reed's expression shifted from anxiety to genuine fear. I purchased them through a broker. I was assured everything was legitimate. The broker's name? The officer pressed. Marcus Voss, Reed answered, his voice barely audible. Based in Berlin. Tom Wilson stepped forward. Voss is known to deal in questionable acquisitions. The New York Museum blacklisted him last year. As the police continued their questioning, Anna moved to stand before her paintings. Seeing them again after so many years was like encountering old friends. She reached out, her fingers hovering just above the canvas surface, not quite touching. I thought they were lost forever, she whispered to Mark. I painted these when we were still living in that tiny apartment, remember? When you were working on your first startup. Mark nodded, watching his wife's face. I remember. You would paint late into the night after teaching all day. The next day, Robert Lane, Europe's most influential art critic, entered Vista Gallery with authority, having received Tom's call about an unknown Austrian artist whose technique defied classification. You're the artist? He asked, approaching Anna. Anna Novak, she nodded. Your work possesses something I haven't seen in decades, Lane said after examining her paintings. Authenticity, innovation, soul. The gallery transformed from a scene of confrontation into recognition. Collectors gathered around Anna's portfolio, photographing the paintings. Whispers of groundbreaking and revolutionary floated through the space. Mark observed with quiet satisfaction. This was what Anna deserved, recognition based solely on her talent. He caught her eye across the room, seeing the joy on her face after years of waiting. Mrs. Novak, Lane asked during a lull, why have you remained unknown for so long? Work of this caliber should have been exhibited years ago. Anna hesitated, looking at Mark. How could she explain their agreement? The years of sacrifice and waiting? Art requires time, she answered simply, both to create and to ripen. I wasn't ready until now. As word spread beyond the gallery walls, more people began arriving. Other gallery owners, local artists, even a television crew setting up for an impromptu interview. Through it all, Anna remained centered, occasionally seeking Mark's reassuring presence when the attention became overwhelming. Tom Wilson approached Mark. You knew about her talent all along, didn't you? Yet you let her remain anonymous. It wasn't my choice to make, Mark replied. Anna wanted to develop her voice fully before stepping into the spotlight. I respected that decision. Most men in your position will have used their influence to launch their wife's career years ago, Tom observed. Mark's expression softened as he watched Anna, explaining her technique to an enraptured group. Anna isn't an investment to be leveraged. She's an artist who needed to find her own path. The morning newspaper headline read, Prague's hidden master emerges. Anna sat at their kitchen island, still in her dressing gown, staring at the paper in disbelief. Mark, this doesn't feel real, she said, tracing the headline above a photograph of her standing beside her paintings. Mark placed a cup of coffee before her. It's very real, and long overdue. Their peaceful morning was interrupted by Detective Sato, bringing news of the investigation. Marcus Voss had been detained in Berlin, and his records revealed a disturbing pattern of art theft focused specifically on emerging Eastern European artists. We believe Mr. Voss targeted competition entries, Sato explained. Artists who weren't yet established enough to pursue legal action when their works disappeared. So far, we've identified 12 victims besides yourself, Mrs. Novak. How did he get access to the competition entries? Anna asked. He served on the jury, Sato replied. He would select promising works, arrange for them to be lost during transport, then hold them for years before introducing them to the market as discovered works by anonymous masters. Mark's expression darkened. And the other victims? Most have abandoned their artistic pursuits, Sato said sadly. Having your work stolen, it breaks something in an artist. Anna thought of those years after the competition, how the disappearance of her paintings had shaken her confidence. If not for Mark's unwavering support and her teaching position, she might have given up too. I want to help them, she said suddenly. The other artists. If my case can help recover their work. That's actually why I'm here, Sato interrupted. We found catalogs in Voss's apartment with photographs of all the stolen works. With your permission, we'd like to use your case as the foundation for a larger prosecution. Anna and Mark exchanged glances, silent communication passing between them. Of course, Anna agreed. Whatever you need. The Children's Art Center sat in a modest neighborhood far from Prague's tourist districts. For 12 years, Anna had taught here 3 days a week, guiding young hands as they discovered the joy of creation. Ms. Anna. 6-year-old Lucas spotted her first, running with arms outstretched. Other children followed, surrounding her with excitement. We saw you in the newspaper, 9-year-old Sophia exclaimed. Are you famous now? Anna laughed, kneeling to their level. No, not famous. Just lucky that people like my paintings. Does this mean you won't be our teacher anymore? Lucas asked, his small face concerned. Anna's heart tightened. She hadn't considered this implication, that her new opportunities might mean leaving these children behind. Mark watched from the doorway, as Anna was engulfed in the genuine affection of her students and colleagues. This was her other world, one where she wasn't defined by her marriage to him or her emerging fame, but by the gentle guidance she provided to young minds. As Anna helped the children with their projects, a young woman entered the center, hesitating at the threshold. Something in her demeanor caught Mark's attention, a nervous energy, an intense focus on Anna. Can I help you? He asked. The woman startled slightly. I'm here to see Anna Novak. And you are? Nina Kovic. I was one of the artists from the Vienna competition. Understanding dawned. You're one of the victims. Nina nodded, her expression a complex mixture of emotions. When I saw the newspaper this morning, Anna's paintings, the investigation, I had to come. When Anna recognized her, the two women moved to a quiet corner. I thought I was alone, Nina said, her voice barely above a whisper. When my paintings disappeared, everyone said I was being dramatic. I began to doubt myself. I know exactly how that feels, Anna replied. Did you continue painting? Nina shook her head. No, I couldn't. It was like losing a part of myself. I became an art therapist instead. The irony wasn't lost on either woman. Both had channeled their artistic talents in a teaching following their losses, taking different paths to the same destination. The detective told us there are 12 victims, Anna said. Have you been in contact with any of the others? No, but I have their names from the competition records. I kept everything, hoping someday. Nina trailed off, her meaning clear. Anna's expression grew determined. We should find them. All of them. Whatever happens with my work now, this is more important. That evening, as Anna coordinated outreach to other victims with Nina by phone, Mark received a concerning call from Martin Horak. Someone broke into the gallery tonight, Martin reported. They were after Anna's paintings. Were they successful? Mark asked, moving away from Anna. No, our security system prevented it. But they knew exactly where the paintings were being stored. This wasn't random. Someone specifically targeted her work. The morning of the exhibition dawned with Prague shrouded in a gentle mist. Anna chose a simple blue dress, elegant but understated, like her paintings. Perfect, Mark said from the doorway, admiring his wife with undisguised pride. The transformation of Horak's gallery had been nothing short of miraculous. What began as a showcase for Anna's work had evolved into reclaimed visions, an exhibition featuring recovered works from artists victimized by Marcus Voss's scheme. 9 of the 12 had been located in just 5 days, and 7 had agreed to participate. Inside, the gallery hummed with anticipation. Each recovered painting had been displayed alongside new works by the same artist were available. For those who had abandoned their art after the theft, the empty space beside their recovered work told its own poignant story. Anna, the Minister of Culture just arrived, Martin announced, and Robert Lane is calling this a watershed moment in Eastern European art. As Anna moved through the space, greeting fellow artists and notable guests, she felt a profound sense of rightness. This was never just about her work. It was about justice and restoration for all of them. Nina found Anna near the gallery center, where Anna's stolen paintings hung alongside her newer works. "I started painting again," Nina confided, her eyes shining. "Last night, for the first time in 7 years." Before Anna could respond, a stir at the entrance drew their attention. 2 police officers had entered, accompanying a familiar figure, Peter Reed, looking considerably less polished than when Anna had last seen him. "What is he doing here?" Nina whispered. Mark appeared at Anna's side. Reed confessed to the break-in attempt. Apparently, he hoped to damage her work before the exhibition. Part of his plea agreement is a public apology to all affected artists. Reed approached with Detective Sato. "Mrs. Novak, Ms. Kovic," he began stiffly. "I've come to apologize, not only for my treatment of Mrs. Novak, but for my negligence in authenticating the artwork I purchased. I knew, or should have known, that Voss dealt in questionable acquisitions." Anna studied him. "Your apology is accepted, Mr. Reed. But I hope you understand that this was never about me, or even about the paintings themselves." "What was it about, then?" Reed asked, genuinely curious. "Dignity," Anna replied simply. "The dignity of creation, of being seen for your true self, not judged by appearances or connections." As Reed was escorted to meet the other artists, Mrs. Davis approached Anna with unexpected news. "Mrs. Novak, the Paris Museum is interested in more than just acquiring your work. We wish to host Reclaimed Visions as a traveling exhibition. First Paris, then New York, then Tokyo. I would need to discuss it with the others," Anna said carefully. "This has always been a collective journey." As the exhibition's formal opening approached, Martin Horak called for attention. Anna found herself guided to the center of the room, surrounded by the other artists whose work had been reclaimed. "Today marks not just the discovery of extraordinary talent," Martin began, "but the righting of a profound wrong. These artists had their voices silenced through theft and deception. Today they speak again." When Anna's turn came, she stepped forward with characteristic grace. "A week ago, I stood outside Vista Gallery feeling that my dream of sharing my art had ended before it began," she said. "Today, I understand that rejection was actually a beginning, not just for me, but for all of us gathered here." She gestured to her fellow artists. "Art isn't about prestige or price tags. It's about connection, seeing and being seen in our truest form." Her eyes found Mark's in the crowd. "Sometimes we need someone who sees our value when the world doesn't. And sometimes we need to be that person for others." Later, as the crowd thinned, Anna found a quiet moment with Mark near the gallery's rear garden. Through the window, they could see Prague's spires bathed in sunset light, the same view Anna had captured in one of her first paintings. "Happy?" Mark asked, his arm around her waist. "Beyond words," she replied. "But not because of the sales or the reviews." "Why then?" Anna turned to face him fully. "Because today, everyone was seen for who they truly are, not what they appear to be. That's worth more than any masterpiece." Mark smiled. "So what happens now? Paris? New York? The world awaits." Anna considered this. "Now, we help others find their voice. The children at the center still need their art teacher, and there are 3 more artists from Vienna we haven't located." Outside, Mark's black SUV waited at the curb. Unlike a week ago, when it had arrived at Vista Gallery as an instrument of confrontation, today it would carry them home in quiet celebration. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like and subscribe for more powerful narratives about dignity and respect.